do the sex.
Today's Talk Sex with Annette topic is how to touch a woman so she actually wants you. The 4-minute method. I've had so many people, especially men, reach out to me asking the same question. How do I get my partner to want me again? How do I make intimacy feel exciting and not like an obligation? And here's the truth. While some women respond instantly to direct sexual or intimate touch, especially early in a relationship, most women don't, especially after years of work stress, mental load, parenting, and life. For a lot of women, intimacy started as an escape, but somewhere along the way, it became another chore on the to-do list. So today I'm giving you the thing that changes everything. How to touch her in a way that turns her back on emotionally, physically, and intimately before you go anywhere near those sexual or intimate physical zones. This is the kind of touch that makes her soften, open, melt, and actually want more. This is the kind of touch that gets her out of her head and into her body. This is the kind of touch that makes her desire rise naturally. And when you know how to do this, you don't have to beg or barter for intimacy anymore. Her body will begin responding on its own, and she'll begin to crave it more. If you want her to want you, you start by touching the parts of her that make her feel safe, desired, and powerful again. That's what brings her inner goddess back online. Let's get into how to touch a woman so that she wants intimacy. She craves it. You're no longer bartering for it or begging for it. You are both enjoying it regularly together. I'm going to give you all of that plus my 4-minute touch method that's going to help that happen. Let's dive in. Cheers. When a woman is stressed, distracted, or touched too quickly, her body literally tightens. Her pelvic floor clenches, her breath shortens, sensitivity drops. Touching her genitals or intimate areas first is like trying to light a candle in a windstorm. To get deeper responsiveness, you have to touch the parts of her body that make her relax first. That's the switch. That's what opens her. Look at it like this. Relaxation opens the door to arousal for a woman. If you don't open that first, nothing else opens. Not her body, not her desire, and not her pleasure. So now let's talk about the 3 zones of a woman's body that, when touched correctly, can allow her to open up to arousal and desire and make her start craving more. There are 3 places you can touch that make a woman melt open almost instantly. The first one is her back and spine. Slow downward strokes calm her system. The second is her hips or at her thighs, and this is where grounding happens. So touching here lowers tension fast. And then there's, of course, the pelvic parameter. I'm not talking about the pelvic area itself. I'm talking about the parameter. Touching around her center, not directly on it, builds anticipation and increases blood flow. That's how you unlock the center, which is, of course, where you eventually want to go. When a woman feels unrushed and fully seen, her whole body softens. Cortisol drops. Cortisol is that stress hormone that wreaks havoc on a body. Oxytocin rises, which of course is that feel-good hormone that gets us all in the mood. And suddenly touch feels deeper, safer, and more intimate, which is of course what we want. Presence is what gets her out of her head and into her body. And it's so important that she is in her body because that is where she needs to be if she's going to want more intimacy with you. If she's in her head, she is somewhere else. She's not in the room with you. Her body doesn't open for pressure. It opens for presence. Now let's talk about my 4-minute method. Now that you understand why it works and what we're trying to make happen, I'm going to give you the exact 4-minute sequence that warms her body open fast without rushing anything sexual or intimate. This is the part that people always ask me for. Just tell me exactly what to do with my hands so she actually wants me, not out of obligation, but because her whole body is saying yes. And here's the truth. You don't need an hour, you don't need a massage table, and you definitely don't need to be a sex expert. You just need 4 intentional minutes. 4 minutes that move her from stressed and shut down to relaxed, receptive, and deeply connected to her own desire. This is a sequence that activates her nervous system, settles her breath, increases blood flow, and makes her body naturally open to deeper intimacy. Follow these 4 minutes in order without rushing or skipping ahead, and you're going to feel her melt under your hands. You're going to feel her want you again. So let's start with the first minute, the anchor touch. You're going to place both of your hands on her upper back and just slow down. Drag your hands downward towards her hip in one long, steady motion. Don't lift your hands off her body. Don't change your speed. Just give her the kind of touch her nervous system can trust. Here's why this matters. When you run your hand down her spine, you activate the vagus nerve, the pathway that shifts her out of stress and into relaxation. And a relaxed body is a responsive body. You're not trying to rouse her yet, but this is also a great moment to linger in. It gives you the opportunity to kiss the back of her neck, to whisper in her ear, and to just get close to her and let her know you are fully present and there with her. You are grounding her. You are giving her body permission to melt. Now, when your hand reaches her lower back, you've been moving down her back very slowly, adding pressure, being present. You're going to glide them around her waist without breaking contact. Let them settle on her hips. This single transition tells her body, you're safe. Stay here. Stay open. So now we're into minute 2. We are going to be working her hips and her outer thighs. You're going to keep your hands full and warm on her hips. Let your palms sink just enough for her to feel held. Then drag your hands slowly down the outer thighs. No squeezing, we're not grabbing, just long grounding strokes that connect her breath and her body. I know that when you get excited, this can be hard. You want to grab her, you're feeling primal, but that's not what we're doing, right? And here's why this works. Her hips and outer thighs are grounding zones. When you touch her here, her pelvic floor naturally begins to relax. If she's tense, stressed, or mentally scattered, this is where her body starts to let go. From the outer thighs, your hands are going to drift inward toward her inner thighs without touching the center. We're not going straight for grabbing the genitals. That's going to shut her down, I promise you. Look, that slight inward shift builds anticipation, and anticipation is an aphrodisiac. This is the moment she stops thinking and starts feeling, which is exactly what you want. And so now we're going to move into minute number 3. Minute 3 is where anticipation starts doing the work for you. Use slow, wide teasing strokes along her inner thighs. Then you're going to move up toward her lower stomach and do the same. Think slow, soft, and indirect. You're still not touching the center, but you're getting close enough that her body knows what's coming. And here's why this matters. Touching the inner thighs increases blood flow to her pelvic region. That's what you want. Touching the lower stomach relaxes her lower abdominals and deepens her breath. Together, these touches raise her sensitivity pretty quickly. You're going to want to watch her hips and her breath. When she starts breathing deeper or her hips rise on their own, you know she's shifting into arousal. So to transition, you're going to trace a soft line with your fingertips from her stomach downward, then sweep outward in a circle around her center. Of course, we're talking about her vulva and clitoral area. This is your bridge into the next zone. And now we are at minute 4. This is where everything opens. You're going to touch the pelvic perimeter, not the center, around it, using slow circles, soft tracing, gentle taps, consistent contact, nothing direct. Think of it as drawing a 360-degree halo around the most sensitive part of her body. And here's why this works. The skin around the center is packed with nerve endings that travel through her arousal pathways. Heightened sensitivity increases blood flow and makes her body rise towards you without you ever having to ask. When her hips start lifting towards your hand, that's an invitation. That's her body saying, I'm open, I'm ready, take me where you want to go next. So I have to add a note here. I've given you a 4-minute script, but what you really want to use to dictate when to move to the next zone is her body's responsiveness, her cues, whether that's verbal or physical, inviting you to move to the next zone. I've given you some really good cues throughout the script to look for. Her body will invite your touch to move. You can look for subtle shifts in her body, asking you to kind of move one direction or the other. If that happens before the minute is over, take the invitation. Don't stick to a timer. We are looking for something organic to happen here. Follow those natural, organic cues, because if you miss one, that could be a negative signal to her and cause her cortisol levels to spike and everything to shut down. So really be present, really be attuned. This is not only going to arouse her, it's going to arouse you. So touch alone is not going to get you there. Women open to words just as much as hands because language shapes safety, desire, and trust. When you speak to her while you touch her, you're doing 3 things at once. You're lowering her cortisol, grounding her nervous system, and reminding her she's wanted and not obligated. That's why the right words matter. So here are the lines that melt a woman immediately because they make her feel chosen and not rushed. Slow down with me. I want to enjoy every part of you. Or my personal favorite is, I love the way you feel. You can always just say, I'm listening. Tell me whatever your body wants, or let me take my time with you. These aren't pickup lines, they're nervous system medicine. They make her feel safe enough to soften and desired enough to open. When a woman feels safe, her desire wakes up. Your words are the switch. Most people rush straight into intimate touch and wonder why it feels forced, disconnected, or repetitive. But when you start with the kind of touch that opens her body first, deep, slow, grounding, and intentional touch, everything after becomes effortless. Her desire rises on its own, her responsiveness skyrockets, and the intimacy you've been missing starts to rebuild naturally. So surprise her tonight. Give this a try. And then let me know how it goes. If you're over on my YouTube channel, I want you to drop your experience in the comment section below this video. You can always email me, of course, at Annette at talksexwithannette.com. And if you are wanting a cheerleader, a support person, a wing woman, if you will, on your own intimacy journey, my books are open. You can find out more about my coaching techniques at Annette at talksexwithannette.com. You can also get a taste of my coaching practices over on OnlyFans at talksexwithannette, where you're also going to find my sex and intimacy how-tos and demos and audio-guided self-pleasure meditations. I can't wait to hear how this works for you. And until next time, I'll see y'all in the locker room. Cheers.